Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We're grateful to be able to do this today with our folks from Amplify, but I don't mind telling you, I'd rather be with you standing next to you, but we can't do that, so that's that. The next best thing. Thank you for taking your time during this beautiful day here in New York City, wherever you happen to be, and joining in this webinar. We have a bunch of folks that have signed on. We'll give it a couple minutes here and admit a few more people. In the meantime, just a little housekeeping. If you've called in on the phone, you can't send a message asking a question in the little chat box, but if you want, you can send me an email and I'll see if I can get it answered. If you're on the webinar, you can send a question in the chat box. We'll get to as many as we can. We've got a bunch of folks here, and I'm going to hand it to, by the way, I'm going to thank Dennis O'Neill because it's all his fault that we know each other, and with Warren and Justin, and now my new friend, wait a minute, you were Mark. Okay, there you are, Mark. So Dennis, thank you again. I'm going to turn off my video, let you guys introduce yourselves one at a time, and then we'll get started. You're on, Justin.
All right. So again, we thank you for for joining us. Crazy thing going on in the world right now, but thanks to the benefits of technology, we can still meet and still function business to some degree. And fortunately, we're here presenting you a technology product, so it fits, at least segues pretty well there. My name's Justin Tabb. I'm the CEO and founder of Amplify Exchange. I'll give you a little bit about my history. So I've been doing software for over 20 years. In 2007, I founded a company called Override Pro, and we did custom software solutions, mostly overflow from large companies. So worked directly with quite a few of large companies. If you know Apple, we built training.apple.com, consultants.apple.com, and all the underlying systems that support those, as well as a retail system for Apple that allows them to communicate, allows stores to communicate back with Apple headquarters when they need new floor display devices. They can't just take one off the shelves. So did that, did quite a bit of work with Facebook and Oculus in the event space, done projects for Disney, Kodak, presidential campaigns, Hewlett-Packard, the NBA, I said OpenStack, so quite a few. So the list goes on. So really always prided ourselves on doing projects that other people thought were impossible or improbable to do. But along the way, after doing that for over a decade, always wanted to do something for myself, a project that was of my own creation rather than making products for other people. And so, being a software developer and engaging the interest in the crypto space, which I was familiar with very early on, decided that, Amplify Exchange, the exchange is where we wanted to be, where we wanted to sort of rest our, stake our claim. I believe that digital assets are here to stay. They are still arguably futuristic technologies. However, the online trading platforms that support the exchange of those are far behind, lagging far behind where traditional online trading platforms are. And so we've set out to really make a paradigm shift in the space in the way that we generate revenue as a company. We believe customers are more sophisticated at this point, particularly millennials, which is the driving force behind digital assets as a whole, not always true, but as a whole. And they know what they expect from a platform, right? And so they expect, no fees. They shouldn't have to pay to let you hold their money. And they expect to be able to earn revenue alongside of you, for you to be smart enough to figure out how to do that without them, without charging them fees. And we'll explain how we do that in a minute. And then they expect, the convenience of just being able to do that anytime, anywhere. And we'll go into more detail about that. So with that, I'll turn you over to Warren Lorenz, who's our Managing Director of Trading Operations, and he can give you a little bit of his history. And then Mark Crawford, who's our Global Head of Marketing, to give you a little bit of his history. And then we will jump into the pitch deck and sort of walk you through the process. And we're going to do a demo along the way of what is up and live, which has been live since December 3rd. And then we'll show you a little bit about our future vision and tell you about how we think hopefully some of you guys can partner with and help us. So with that, I'll turn it over to Warren.
Hello, everybody. My name is Warren Lorenz. I am the Managing Director of Trading Operations here at Amplify. My role primarily consists of everything from the trading venue side, so creating markets, managing market-making relationships, rebalancing, listing tokens, and then working with the development team on various revenue streams in the technology build-out. Prior to Amplify, I ran my own company called TechMeets Trader. We built fully automated trading systems for hedge funds, family offices, and prop shops, primarily in traditional markets. I've built multiple equity option trading tools, futures trading tools, as well as arbitrage suites, if you will. Prior to that, I was working at Northwestern Mutual as a licensed investment advisor and investment advisor representative. And I had raised money as a vice president of finance for a company in San Francisco that I sold my equity back to start my own company, TechMeets Trader, which I also sold for the most part. So that's my background. Mark, I'll kick it to you.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Mark Crawford. I'm the global head of marketing at Amplify. In terms of what I do at Amplify, it's everything from our email acquisition strategies and talking to the traders who are on the platform to getting new people to, learn about the platform, be it from a content creation standpoint or just a traditional marketing channel standpoint or a press standpoint. It all funnels into me. Prior to Amplify, I was at Interpublic for a number of years, working in their revenue optimizations unit. So I worked across the companies like Fiat Chrysler, Johnson & Johnson, Nationwide, Charles Schwab, and a handful of others, working to take their marketing budgets and use data and data strategies to drive cost per acquisition, cost per individual sale down, and really make sure that you're strategically spending your money, whether it's a small little pot of cash or a really large budget that you're working with. So taking all those strategies and bundling them together and bringing them on board to Amplify.
All right, great. So with that, we'll go ahead and share my screen here and we'll launch the pitch deck and get rolling. Minimize that. All right. So our relationship with money is changing. As I mentioned earlier, millennials are the primary driving force behind the digital economy at this point. This is from a study that was done in 2018, so the numbers are actually higher now, but we wanted a concrete study that had all these three factors. And at the time in 2018, so 2 years ago, 25% of millennials already owned cryptocurrency. 43% trusted crypto exchanges more than the New York Stock Exchange, which to me is an astounding figure in 2018. And then 74% say that the blockchain makes the financial system more secure. However, they expect mutual relationships with their providers. They expect that we're transparent and flexible with them and provide them what they need. They want to be in control of their money and they want to be able to do it from anywhere. The problem right now is crypto exchanges suck. In 2018, when that study was done, it was even more sucky. So, as we figured that was the best way to say it for this slide. Right now, very high fees on crypto exchanges on transactions alone, let alone take out the moving the money fees. And God forbid you want to use fiat to purchase cryptocurrency and have to perform an FX conversion. It's extremely expensive and difficult. As it says here, that it's segmented. There's very much a mindset of crypto or fiat, not crypto and fiat. And regardless of, idealism point of view, understanding that digital assets is where it's going, crypto and fiat have to walk hand in hand for a good long time, at least a decade in my mind.
Quick question.
Yes.
Hi, it's Rob here. The first slide about the percentages, is that a U.S. or is that a global metric? And then if it's global, could you comment a little bit more to the U.S. market as far as the those percentages?
So in short, I don't know off the top of my head. I don't remember whether it was U.S. based or global. The name of the study is there, 2018 Edelman Millennials with Money Study. I can certainly look it up and follow up with you afterwards to let you know. I do know that in different regions in the world, the demographic is different. For example, in Korea, I'll butcher it's an older generation. So I want to say it's men around my age, so 40 and up is the predominant. Like I think it's like 1 out of 5 or something like that owns crypto as of a study that was done a year or two ago. So it's not always true. There are exceptions, but for the most part, definitely within the U.S., I believe it's ideally millennials that are driving this as the main force is coming in. They're coming into the generation that's coming into their own and knowing what they expect is slightly different. So
thank you. Okay.
Next, obviously complicated and poor user experience and customer experience overall. Maya Angelou said, people will never remember what you said, rarely remember what you did, but always remember the way you made them feel. And I believe that customer experience is above all. Doesn't just mean user experience. However, in my time at Apple, I've learned the great value behind that. And so we have put quite a bit of time, effort, and money, which you'll see, into making this very smooth. And we'll talk a little bit about where we're going to be able to go very soon based on some developments this week. But, I believe that if you take care of the customer, they'll take care of you. And then the last point is no passive earning capabilities on any crypto brokerage at this moment. There are secondary systems or disparate systems where you can do passive earning, like Celsius and BlockFi. However, it's not part of a single suite. It requires separate moving of your funds, locking up of your funds, and we'll go into that in detail, how we're doing that better. So transaction fees is sort of a thing of the past, and there's historical precedents for this. The first online trading platform was Trade Plus in 1985, which became E-Trade in 1991, still persists today. The way they made money for 2 decades was $5 to $10 per trade or percentage-based model. In 2013, Robinhood came on the scene and really turned it on its head and say, hey, we're going to make our money the way that banks that make their money through AUM. We're not going to charge fees. And then in 2019, October 1st, Charles Schwab came and said, we're not going to charge transaction fees anymore. There are limitations to these. If you really read into the terms and conditions, for instance, Charles Schwab is 500 trades, and then they go back to the transaction model. But seeing TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, and Fidelity follow, TD Ameritrade was within 2 days, follow suit, lets you know that this is the direction that it's headed, and this is what the sophisticated investor is come to expect. So that's part of our logic here. If you look at the traditional space here on the left, you see on the no fee side with interest-bearing accounts, all the major players fall in that space. TD Ameritrade has a money market sweep vehicle, works very well. I use the platform. But when you flip over to the right and have crypto exchanges, you saw Coinbase actually raise their fees last year, mainly because they can right now. They can rest on their laurels. They are basically printing money every day. But if history's shown us anything, that's usually when someone comes up who's an innovator and knocks you off your perch. And we believe that's what we are here to do. I know it's a bold claim, but I'll show you why over the next slides, why I believe within the next 6 months, we'll be able to say we have the best crypto brokerage platform in the world. Adoption is certainly another issue that we're addressing in a different way. But from a technology standpoint, from a technologist who's worked with the biggest and best in the world for 20 years, I can say that we will have the best cryptocurrency brokerage product in the world within the next 6 months, and that includes against Coinbase. So none of these major players offering anything to do with interest-bearing accounts right now, and most are on the high fee side of things. Binance is lower fees, but they're a little bit different in that they don't have a brokerage, but just for comparison's sake, we added them here. So what is missing in crypto is the space over here to the right where we intend to fill that with Amplify Exchange. At a real quick high level, we launched December 3rd, commission free. with the long-term goal of removing all fees on all products, even premium products, like Robinhood charges for premium products, right? But no fees on any products. There's a reason why, you know, when I bank with JP Morgan, I pay absolutely no fees on anything, even international wire transfers, and that's because they're lending my money out, and that's how they make money. And that's what customers are coming to expect. So Fiat Gateway, I will tell my story that I always tell, and that I've done some extremely crazy systems over the years, in 20 plus years of doing this. And if someone had told me a year ago that to find the right Fiat partner would have taken me a year, I would have called them a liar, maybe not to their face, but definitely behind their back. So it's, you know, it's difficult in this space because of the risk associated with it and because of compliance. We've been through two, one, a New York-based bank who shut down their crypto division after we were officially onboarded in a single day, including $250 million FBO account for a large crypto exchange, which you would know if I said the name. And then another one who we fully integrated with and lost their partners. So we put extra time into vetting this one through independent partners that we know, like Galaxy Digital. We're told this one was the real deal. And as of this past last week, we were officially approved through their multi-step process, including the Swiss bank's board of directors. And we will be delivering our first 4 fiat currencies mid-April. Those will be the euro, the Great British pound, the Russian ruble, and the Swiss krona. We have the capability of doing 16 more just through the system as it exists right now. Before the end of the year, the plan is to roll those out on about 2 a month after we've completed this first trial to make sure that it works. And the key thing to note about this is that it enables you to go direct from underserved fiat currencies like the Russian ruble or the Swiss krona direct to altcoin currencies. So I don't have to perform an FX conversion and lose 2 to 3% to convert rubles to US dollars. I don't have to, so the wire transfer fee, depends on the bank. I don't have to then go and buy a base currency like Bitcoin or Ethereum and then potentially move it somewhere else. As we bring more tokens on, for example, right now, Coinbase doesn't even list Cardano. You'll be able to take your Russian ruble and press a button and buy Cardano right with a Russian ruble. And this is something that's sorely needed in the space. And as we increase those fiat pairs and increase our digital asset pairs, this becomes much more powerful. So a couple proprietary things that we built from the ground up: portfolio management tools, our P3L tracking system. Most crypto exchanges are perfectly happy to let you churn your account and lose money as long as you're trading, because they're making money off transaction fees. But what we've done is try to take and remove barriers to entry for customers, really help educate the customer, help them know when they're doing well and when they're not doing well. And part of that is letting them know when they're making money and when they're losing money on particular trades. So we'll show you in the demo that the first version is already in production. It already works. It basically does your entire portfolio value and rolls that up and tells you if you're increasing or decreasing, right, on a daily basis. Next version, which we'll show you some screenshots of in our future vision with our Pro Exchange, you'll be able to take that down to the granular, to the trade level, rolled up to the instrument level. So you'll be able to see how am I doing on my Bitcoin trading, how am I doing on Ethereum, what's more profitable, and you'll be able to do that time specific. And then we also have discussions of being able to give people sort of a year-end statement, very easily, even without integrating with a third-party tax provider program, and say, here's what you actually profited this year, and here's the history of your trade, so you can file your taxes regardless of what country you're in. The next one is our money market sweep vehicle. So this is the interest-bearing accounts. Couple key differentiators to note here before we go into further detail is that the barriers to entry, at least for me as a consumer from using products like Celsius or BlockFi to a heavy degree, is they're a disparate system. I have to move my assets from one place to another. But mainly it's the lockouts, right? So if you're locking my funds up for 7 days and you're paying me 6% annualized, and I want to actively trade that asset because now a different asset is going on a bull run and I want to be able to take advantage of that, it's just simply not possible. So by doing it all in one, by bringing that passive earning interest into the platform, the trading platform, we're able to do a few things that they just simply cannot do. And that one is basically all but removing the lockout periods, allowing active trading by doing real-time processing and real-time tracking down to the second. So if you are earning whatever percentage it is annualized in Bitcoin and you want to make that trade, that's fine. You just stop earning the second they make that trade. So it gives you access to your funds to actively trade them and gives you access to your funds to actively withdraw them if you need them. It's just simply the same mechanism. It's just instead of shifting into another asset, you're simply withdrawing them. And it's because those lockups are barriers to entry in those markets. So, and then as I said before, the long-term goal is to completely remove all fees. So no withdrawal fees, no fiat fees. We want to make our money through assets under management like smart financial institutions do today. So we told you a little bit about our history as myself and Warren, done a lot of crazy stuff over the years. Might be arguable if this is the craziest thing or not, but it is what it is. So here's how we make money right now. So right now, basically, our pricing is competitive. It's online with Coinbase. We'll show you in a slide here, and there's a link to a video where you can see more detail that we're in line at spot pricing, but after spot pricing, or after they've tacked on their fees, we're able to deliver 1.4% more Bitcoin on average. We make our money through negotiated pricing with the market maker right now. And so we do take a fee from that. So we are earning revenue right now as of today. Obviously, the big goal, as I said, is lending assets under management. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, and Warren can go into some details here in a few minutes. When we launch the Pro Exchange, which you'll see as well, there will be maker-taker model transaction fees initially until we reach certain thresholds where we're earning more than 50% or more than 85% are the two thresholds of our revenue through assets under management, at which point we step those fees down, and we'll show you in the financials at the end where those are projected to take place. And then obviously B2B services with just managing listings and trading operations or trading competitions is a minor one. So here's, sort of some long-term goals, and we'll jump into detail. We've kind of combined a teaser deck with the detailed deck here, but 20 fiat currencies, 4 of which will launch within the next, I guess it's 3 weeks. Interest-bearing accounts, middle to this second half of this year. 100,000 active traders and $50 million in monthly trading volume are all within the projections, which we're exceeding now of what we're going to do before we reach cash flow positivity and with the $5 million that we're raising. So it's just a little bit about growth. As of February 2020, we're accelerating 94% month over month in revenue and trading volume. Real quick, here's the assets that we list currently. We're in the process of, as part of marketing efforts, reaching out to the underserved but active crypto communities. So we have one now. We're in the final stages of going through our compliance process for listing, and it has 60,000 active members. They did not run an ICO, and currently they only trade in a couple very bad places that that are not good at user experiences, and they have no accessibility to fiat gateways. So it will be very big for them, but it also be very big for us, and that a portion, at least a portion of those 60,000 members, we would expect to onboard relatively quickly. And then we have another one in the pipeline right after that. These are the tokens that we currently list. We are in the process of actually delisting IOTA. I think it's still on here somewhere because their blockchain's been down, but we will be bringing Tezos online pretty soon. And we're in the process of obviously listing more of the majors, but more very much focused on targeting those communities and helping them and letting them help us. This is what I alluded to about competitive pricing. So you'll get this in the follow-up email, but there's a link to a video that shows you that after Coinbase taxed on their fees, we're able to deliver on average 1.4% more Bitcoin, and we are in line with spot pricing. So here is 15 weeks, just under 2 months of brokerage growth. On average, we're increasing users by 3.5% a week. You've seen that slow down quite a bit, only because we have had to limit marketing efforts. That's why we're raising money. That's why we're talking to you right now. We've need gasoline to pour on the fire that we poured, but we have had really steady growth week over week. You see, and I guess that's week 13 right there where it dropped down. But since that's based on the US dollar, a good chunk of that is because of the loss of the price of Bitcoin going from over 10,000 down to about 6,000 now. So that plays into the equation. And on average, we're increasing volume 140% every week. Same thing here. You saw some explosive growth in the beginning when we had good marketing dollars to pour in. This is 15 weeks of deposits and AUM. Now you've seen us sort of level off a bit because we just don't, like I said, don't have the fuel right now to do more than what we're doing. So we're trying to be very innovative and creative with ways to bring that on. And we do believe that assets under management will take a significant bump when we activate fiat services in the next couple of weeks. So we'll look forward to seeing that. This is what I talked a little bit about future vision. So this is the Pro Exchange. You can see here it is very much different than anything that's on the market. It's targeted towards an institutional or sophisticated retail investor, allowing, with, blocked order book blocks, interactive orders right on the charts. These panels here, as you can see, like the 2 rows with the columns, can pop out to as many as you want based on your screen real estate. It has, and we'll go into all these other tabs on it, but market watch and analyzation tools, and then the detailed position tracking that I mentioned earlier. So here is 15 weeks of our marketing funnels. So again, towards the end here, we've had to reduce spend somewhat, but we are still seeing, good numbers. We've had some ridiculous numbers, one that was under 5 cents for the week, which is insane. But we are targeting more high value users now, and we are only spending on average about $5,000 a week right now on marketing. So, but we are diligently working at that. Currently, this is where we're spending our marketing budget: trading competitions, retargeting, platform, and display brand awareness. And when we get to the end, if anyone has detailed questions, Mark can walk you through more detail on that. This is where we would like to spend money, some additional categories, but mostly the breakout stays the same. This is, post-raise. And this is an overall future spend. The biggest bumps you see here are marketing. We're bumping that significantly, 7 digits. We're ready to basically scale this. And then the risk buffer, because we're just unsure, but that's where we're looking for not only investments, but partners in the investors who will help us, know things that we don't know. Again, I'm apologize, I'm not a professional fundraiser, so if I lapse anything on this, but B, I'm smart enough to know that I don't know everything, and we're looking for help with, executive management team, scaling out the executive management team, and connecting with potential partners, vendors, and clients. Here's the funding history. So $3 million for myself. I still hold 100% equity in the company. We do have a loyalty token, and we'll talk a little bit about how, if you guys have questions, how that plays in once trading fees are completely gone. But basically, they're able to earn more on their passive or on their interest-bearing accounts by being paid in the loyalty token. So there is some value in that. So I had a dear friend who put in $5 million. We did not run an ICO. It was a single private token purchaser, qualified investor, and non-US citizen. So right now we're raising $5 million. We're willing to oversubscribe to $7 million for 20% equity on a $35 million valuation. And right now we're offering that through convertible note or direct equity. So here is year 1 projections. We'll, in the valuation justification, go into a little bit about this. Month number 1 is real numbers, and we've used predictable rates of increase to justify EBITDA and revenue. And we are currently exceeding all those. But even with this, this calls for cash flow positivity at the end of year 1 in month 12. As you jump to year 2, this is where I discussed where you'd see us taking our first reduction in overall trading fees. Again, the brokerage remains commission-free above spot pricing, but the fees on the Pro product will be reduced in the first month is the projection. So you'll see revenue sort of take a little dip. If you look down at the green column here, because here you had 760,000 in month number 12, but dumped down to 578,000 because of the transaction fee decrease, the first stage of that. And then you see us jump to actual profitability in month 15. So month 3, basically a year from right now. And then year number 3, so the first month of year number 3 is where we anticipate we'll be able to remove all fees on the customer side on all products, even premium products. And so you do see a little bit of dip in revenue there, but then go right back up to where it was and over by month 30. And so this is basically how we, have made our projections going out, including all the estimates of what our costs are. Excuse me. And as I said, like currently we are beating these. Last month, I believe we beat them by 90%. This month it's a little bit less because of the drop in the market and all, but we are still beating these projections. So when you look at how did we come to the valuation, so we took our third year of EBITDA, roughly $4 million. The multiplier for this space is somewhere between a 6 and 10x multiplier. We took the lowest one that we could, 6x. Gives us a terminal value of about $25 million. And then 3-year discounted cash flows, the MPV on that at 20% discounted cash flows is roughly 10 million. So it gets us right around the $35 million and change valuation. Little bit of logic on how we got to this. So month number 1 is actual data. We took for months 2 to 4 predictable growth of 25%, which we are beating on most indicators. There are a few where we need a little bit of help, but I think that comes from marketing dollars. We assume that we will close around by month 5, or at least have it mostly done, and then we'll be able to kick up marketing. So we're adding in an additional growth in there of 10% for a month. And then also we had projected that fiat services would be available to the brokerage by month 5, which would be May. We can say absolutely 100% we are officially approved, and we'll have those next month. So that's a month early. We did account for in month number 5 a 3 times AUM spike over what it's going at, because we're just by really giving the brokerage the juice that it needs to really be a brokerage, and allowing people to deposit and withdraw fiat, we believe will cause a significant bump. And that will be a month early now. And then we just take it right back down to the predictable growth rate after that. As I mentioned, in year number 2, we reduced the transaction fees. So you see revenue decrease a little bit right there. And we also reduced the growth to 15% each month, and reduced only 5% growth for average trade value. So we're started out with what we believe is very conservative, and then tried to become more and more conservative rather than being ridiculous. So, all right, let's do a demo real quick if you guys are up for it. So this is what is live right now. It's the brokerage. It's available at amplifyexchange.com. You're able to do another thing I should have mentioned, which I didn't earlier, but I should have mentioned is I believe we have one of the smoothest, if not the smoothest onboarding experience in the business, particularly for non-US citizens. So we're able to go not only level 1 verification where you do the AML and all the sanctions list verifications, but all the way through level 2 verification with AML KYC onboarding, not only for Latin-based languages, but non-Latin-based character sets like Arabic in 2 to 5 minutes. If you have a good internet connection, on average, it's around 2 minutes. Some users that we have in parts of the world where they're using a mobile phone and they're on, less than par internet, it takes up to 5 minutes, but that's fully verified. And there's maybe 1 or 2 others in the world that do that well right now. So we're pretty proud of that. And most of those do not have non-Latin based character sets. So no trading fees from day number 1. Those 4 currencies, as I mentioned, direct to altcoin purchase available in mid-April. That's a key differentiator. And 16 more fiat currencies coming within a year or so, 2 a month on average is what we're looking to release. What I believe is one of the best user experiences in the crypto space. We're human translated into 9 languages. So this is not Google Translate or some API programmatic service where they're doing the best they can based on translation. We've paid human translators, and every time we make an interface change, those human translators go through and actually translate the language into those languages, including Arabic and Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. So some of the ones that would be very difficult for Google Translate to do. We're available in 150 plus countries, and we're looking to do interest-bearing accounts, which is actively being worked on right now, by mid-2020. So I'm going to jump over here. Grab my 2FA device. Be safe here. Again, what I believe is a very smooth, good-looking experience, for users. Here's where I alluded to current portfolio value, my previous day's portfolio value, how much I lost, how much is open right now. Another sort of grief of mine that I wanted to solve in this is, as we said, educating users and helping them be, make more informed decisions. So it's gotten a little bit better recently, but I'm sure if you guys have been in the space a while, you remember the days where you would log on, register on exchange, log on, and they'd say, here's everything that we have. It's ADA. Do you want to buy ADA? Well, I don't know anything about ADA. So how do I learn about ADA? So what we've done is try to empower users, not only show them the chart, everybody wants to see a chart, and this is a brokerage, not the more detailed version, which we'll show you in a moment, but this is hand curated news provided by BNC Newsfeed. So it's Brave New Coin, and you're able to basically come in, see news that is pertinent. If you're interested, go and read it. So very simply click and go read it, as well as pulling in their social profiles, things that seem relatively simple but are very important, particularly if you know nothing about the project. So here I have Cardano's Twitter feed and their Reddit feed. And in addition, pulling in their profile information, which we pull through the CoinMarketCap API to give me global information about this product. So then based on that, I can go and buy some if I want. Obviously, I can do deposits and withdrawals right from here, as well as managing what I'm interested in. So if I wanted to see everything, you just merely click enable all, save, and now all those things that I was not interested in before but am now are available here for my use. So let's say I came in and I researched Cardano and I said, wow, okay, this looks interesting. I'd like to go and buy some Cardano. So currently we have BTC as the main filter here. However, that will flip the fiat whenever we enable those additional currencies here in the next couple of weeks. So here I can obviously do the same research here if I wanted, so I don't have to flip back to another screen. And then I'll say I want to buy some Cardano with Bitcoin, take 50% of my Bitcoin. There's my quote, place my order. Order submitted successfully. That's done now. I can go back now and see that there I go. It's been added to my asset allocation. 30% of my profile here is now in Cardano. You can go to transactions and see that that took place. It's fully executed or partially executed or canceled or whatever. Like it gives me the full status here, as well as seeing any fiat deposits and withdrawals that were made or any crypto deposits or withdrawals that were made. So it's very, very simple in that regard. We've tried to make it down and dirty, very simple for people. It is fully mobile compliant right now. We obviously have on the roadmap to make a mobile app and make this more focused, but right now it is responsive and fully mobile compliant. So if you were to log in from your phone, this is basically what it would look like. I can still execute all the functions that I need to right from here, and still see everything that I need to. So it's, we believe we've done a good job with that. In addition, if I wanted to, let's say I'm not an English speaker and I was more.
Hang on, Justin, 1 second. So you executed a live trade.
Yes.
And so that trade had no latency?
No.
And is that unusual?
No, that's the way it always is.
No, I mean with others.
I'm sorry. With other exchanges?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. So, one thing that I was going to get to, but I'll go ahead and talk about now, is that for the last year, over a year, we've been cultivating a relationship with the preeminent credit card, debit card processor pretty much in the world. Like they were just acquired by FIS last year for $40 billion. They have the lowest rejection rates in the industry. They do not work with everyone, but it is who Coinbase uses. So I had to do a lot of put on my sales hats, how we're different, why they should work with us for the last year. The only thing that's been holding up our onboarding is because we are an Irish corporation, mainly for tax reasons. But because we are an Irish corporation, they wanted to settle to a European Union bank account. As of last week, we have that bank account. So in short order, we will be picking that back up with them, providing them with those details and getting that turned on. And then our intention is to be able to allow people Of course, they have to onboard just like you do with Uber, right? But once you're onboarded, to be able to come in and make single click purchases of crypto the same way as if you were ordering a ride through Uber, and that's just not done anywhere now. So there are some very interesting things on the horizon. Sorry, did that answer your question? Maybe not, but
it did. I just muted myself because.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so you know, a big part of our target audience is not English speaking, so we wanted to make sure that we're providing the same level of user experience for them as we are for English speaking people. So, you know, Arabic is a right to left language, so you see here very quickly this is, you know, human translated Arabic. This is not, you know, Google Translate. So people in those parts of the world, and that will maintain that as my setting even after I log out. So see, now even the main part of the site is in Arabic, and you'll see as I log back in here. Let's see. Let's maintain that Arabic setting. So it's very much targeted for the world. You know, Coinbase does very well for the US, right? You know, in the things that they do. I don't believe that they're the perfect product, or I wouldn't be doing this. But they also are very much US focused. So Arabic countries do not trade. So there's a huge market share there for that we can do. That's, you know, that needs to be capitalized on. So with that, I will go back to Keynote here, if I can find it. Oh, there we go.
Hey, Justin, with all of that, do you think we should start opening it up for Q&A? I'm not sure. I want to be respectful of everyone's time here. I know it was
We certainly can. I know it's 3 o'clock. So the last thing I was going to do is walk you through the future vision for, which take maybe another 2 minutes. So let me just do that. And then if anyone has questions, we can do that. So as we showed you earlier, from a future standpoint, when we released the Pro Exchange, very much of a paradigm shift. You've seen this one, so I won't go into too much detail. Here's placing an order, very simple, you know, pop-up works right within it. Not really a pop-up, a modal is more accurate, but so here, purchasing, here's all the markets that I'm interested in and their change, updating live. Again, we have live news over here on the left, hand curated for projects that you are interested in. Obviously, we're not populated with real data yet, but this is, so Ethereum, you know, basically is the model for it, but this would show you all tokens, not only that are available with us, but that are available everywhere and allow you to research those. And then here is a detailed screen for that. So it allows me to really dig down in the detail and see what's going on with it. This is the more advanced version of what I showed you in the demo with being able to research a token. Here's my activity. So working orders, things that, you know, brokerages are primarily market orders. Now, when you get into exchanges, you have different types of orders like limit and stop. However, in our brokerage, we do offer limit and stop orders, which Coinbase and other products do not. So you can take advantage of commission-free trading while using those order types, which is very uncommon. And then here is position tracking in the more granular view, the next version. As we showed you in the brokerage product, it's a high-level roll-up of your entire portfolio. This allows me to look at a on trade level all the way down to actually the orders that made up that trade level and see how I profited on those. So it's a much more granular tool, and really what from our focus groups where we've talked to institutional investors, what they're looking for before breaking into this market. Here's a few of our team members, and that's us. So if that's, can I answer any questions, or can Warren or Mark answer any questions for anybody?
I'll ask anybody if they want to jump in. I will say that you really covered a lot of questions that I would have had. I do have one, if you don't mind. Aside from a little hiccup with the fiat currency banks, what else is potentially could get in your way? Like, what else keeps you up at night or can go wrong?
What else keeps me up at night? Oh, God. I mean, of course, the shifting regulation and legal landscape is a question mark, you know, that nobody really knows the answer to. So all you can do is be as compliant as possible. We currently do not trade in the US voluntarily until either we've partnered with a broker dealer, which we've had some preliminary discussions with some, or we get our broker dealer license, which is an expensive process. So we're really trying to just focus on, picking up markets that are not so heavily saturated right now, by providing the best brokerage product in the world. And then it's very easy to segue into the US. From a technology perspective, there's nothing limiting you. It's merely a regulatory perspective. So that, of course, is something that you cannot control. The coronavirus, I can't control that. But, so that's made fundraising a little bit of a challenge, where we probably would not have thought that. So that bothers me a little bit. But outside of that, I mean, it's from a technology standpoint, we have, so like from a company standpoint, we know who we are now. We know what we're doing. We know how we're different than the competition. We're taking hot products, products that are hot, but work in disparate systems right now in a less than ideal capacity, and bringing those in to a single system where the user can do everything that they need to do. We're taking care of all the hard parts and the complexities of interest-bearing accounts for them so that they can earn passively. We're making sure that their funds are safe, because we currently have $100 million of insurance with Lloyd's of London for assets in custody. So their assets are safe. We're saving them on fees by enabling them to go direct from whatever the main currency is in the region where they live to the altcoin, or, obviously Bitcoin, but altcoin of their choosing, without having to pay FX fees and multiple transfer fees and multiple transaction fees. So it's really reducing that burden. So we have a good identity of where we are with that product. That's why we shifted our focus entirely to that, to make that the absolute best in the world. And I can say with a straight face, after being a technologist for 20 years, when we have those three components in there, we have the best brokerage product in the world, hands down. I would tell that to the CEO of Coinbase tomorrow once we have those three things. And two of them, one we've had since December 3rd. We've been up for 4 months, and roughly 4 months. And then the other one will be live in 2 to 3 weeks. And then the third one is under development. So we are very, very close to being able to deliver that. Then we'll shift focus to taking, the market share, of course, that we're earning with our product, our brokerage product, and then shift that to bringing in what everybody says is the holy grail of cryptocurrency investment, right? Or cryptocurrency trading right now. And that's institutional money, right? So sophisticated retail trader, TD Ameritrade, or institutional money. And the reasons that those people are not coming over now is because the systems simply don't exist with the tools that they need in order to be able to effectively manage risk and effectively manage our portfolio. And that's what we're delivering in the Pro Exchange at the end of the year. So we have a really good concept of where we're going. We have a great team. We have an engineer from Coinbase, in fact, as part of our team, one of our first hires in January of 2019. And we have a team of roughly, 24 people now. And only had one person voluntarily leave, and that was to go to Google for double the money. We booted him out the door. So we all work very well together. And we're just ready to execute. We just need someone to partner with us and help us basically get the gasoline that we need for the fire.
Art, this is Rob. I have a question, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, get off the what's your value? My question, Justin. Two quick ones. One is with this dislocation and recovery from COVID and that environment, are you all seeing greater traction and attention here? So speak a little bit about that reaction, market reaction, and then is what's being proposed here on this convertible, is it pari passu with your note, or is it going to be north or south of that?
So I guess take it in two parts. I've got the first part of the question. The second one I might ask for clarification on. So during the market sell-off, there definitely was increased traction. There's an article out there. I could send it to you if you're interested. Coinbase reported their highest transaction volume ever during that time. Digital assets as a whole, which is odd in the way that it sort of moved along with the U.S. stock market in this time, but as a whole are viewed as an alternate store of value, the same way gold and silver are. So I believe in every sort of bad thing, there's an opportunity. As bad as this COVID thing is, I think it's an opportunity. You know, how did the Rothschilds become the Rothschilds, right, during the stock market crash? So it's, we're going to take the opportunity for what it is. Like I believe that people are in a degree risk off, but I believe they're also willing to go risk on for the right thing. And so we have seen some increase in traction recently in that regard. And then competitors definitely who've been around longer than 4 months have seen a great increase in traction. So I think it only speaks volumes to that this is a decent space to be going into right now. The second part of your question, I didn't quite understand. I might kick it to Warren, if you could maybe restate it.
Sorry, Rob, could you please repeat that?
Yeah, I think I saw in one of the presentations you shared sort of a $2 million face value, 2 million or more of a founder's note. Would the proposed raise be pari passu, north or south of that in terms of the capital structure, in terms of liquidation preference?
So you would have preference over me if that's what you're asking at this point. I mean, in all honesty, from a personal perspective, I'm just looking to stop the bleeding. I mean, I have equity. You know, that's really what I'm looking to be here for the longevity. I'm just hoping not to have to personally support this for forever. You know, my well's only so deep. So you would have preferential liquidation to me, if that answers the question.
Thank you.
So, Justin, the amount of money that has been deployed to build and support this, is it about equal to how much money was put in by you and the single buyer token?
Yeah, so I would say we've spent roughly, you know, 6 to 7 million so far over the last year. I mean, that includes quite a bit of, you know, from infrastructure side. Payroll obviously is very considerable with, you know, 24 full-time employees, you know, and then ongoing, you know, I mean, like even the fiat system, there's costs associated with that, you know, for standing that up. And so getting all that bootstrapped has been very expensive. I am still married barely, but if I spend much more money, I don't know how much that's going to go. But, you know, it's yeah, so roughly about $6 million, I would say.
And when you say pouring fuel on the fire marketing wise, and I'll just, since I've unmuted, say if anybody else has a question, we're going to wrap it up in 3 or 4 minutes just to be polite to everybody. So jump on. I'm sure everybody's happy to stay on if you want. But what was I saying?
Yeah, so you were talking about pouring fuel on the fire. So maybe
so what's that look like? What do you buy?
I'll let Mark talk about that.
Oh, Mark, you're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Excellent, thank you. So yeah, I'm happy to go on about that. So where we are right now and where we started out when we were, you know, just coming into the gate and spending marketing dollars was all about, you know, what kind of users do you want to acquire and how do you want to acquire them? So when we came in and we were acquiring users for cheap and we were acquiring high volume, you know, that was very successful and it's easy to do. You're getting people who are willing to convert quickly, but then they're also willing to convert away from you just as fast as you captured them. Now, of course, we have the best brokerage out there, but if they're just coming in for a quick buck of a promotion, it gets a little tricky. So as we start to acquire a user who is technically more expensive in terms of a cost per acquisition standpoint, it requires a lot more touch points, right? So you're talking video pre-roll with associated production costs. We have 9 native languages, the production costs of those in each of those languages and the animations that are associated with that, the actual assets being produced in the languages, the you know, actual infrastructure of campaign delivery, reporting, and tracking, just from an optimization standpoint of figuring out what would be successful. And all of this in each of these regions in a way that build enough of a network of information that a high value add trader feels comfortable enough in the level of information that's out there and the level of brand recognition that's out there that they're willing to make the switch, right? So it's just about building it up enough that somebody like when you talk about these institutional traders, we talk about people who have high volume trading, daily activity. Those aren't the people who are signing up right now because there's not enough information and there's not enough money yet to get the information out there at scale, I guess. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, you're totally building confidence that this is not going to come and go.
Right.
Exactly.
Arthur, to be, transparent, like in crypto, and we kind of alluded to this before, but trust is a huge problem because there's a lot of bad actors that have taken advantage of people and have made them much more cautious about making a switch to another platform, right? So with the 3.5 months that we've been up already, to even breach almost $1 million in AUM is quite an amazing feat as it stands, because as I'm sure you guys, would be in the same boat as a higher net worth individuals, you guys aren't the first early adopters, right? You guys have typically a lot more to lose than most. So we were able to acquire lower target clients, right? But we are building that trust so that, as time goes on, we're going to continue to get more and more touch points like Mark had mentioned, and we'll be able to activate higher value clients. And from there, it's kind of like that funnel where you get customers, you grow customers, and then you keep customers. Those are the three things that we're looking at in our funnels.
Yeah, the transit customers allowed you to demonstrate proof of concept, so they had value otherwise, right?
Correct.
And just one other thing, we do have a full 2020 and rolling into 2021 plan established and all mapped out that takes this sort of raise into consideration in terms of partners, in terms of strategies, in terms of, metrics and goals around where we're spending when, and what that's going to look like from the types of users we're acquiring and the regions we're acquiring them in, and how much it would cost us to do that. And I'm happy to walk anybody who's interested through that whole deck. It's already put together, so it's no skin off my back, and I love talking about it. So just let us know.
Sure. And we could upload that for all of those that are in attendance, and for those that are not and going to be watching the recording, we could upload that into our data room and invite all of you guys for view access. So you can see, you can walk through our valuation justification. You can walk again through and reference our pitch deck. You can even see some of the compliance and legal documentation we have and company procedures, just so you guys can get more comfortable. And I imagine that you guys might spawn some follow-up questions thereafter. We just want to be as transparent as possible. If, like I said, I'm more on the trading operations side. So if it's more on marketing, Mark's going to be your go-to guy. And then if it's more on trading, and revenue optimization and mechanics behind it, that'll be me. We're both happy to meet with any of you guys to provide further clarification.
So this is what he's referring to, the data room, what I'm showing you here, if you're seeing the screen, and there's quite a bit on here, compliance documentation, including onboarding process, and then all our policies, from business continuity to anti-fraud. Our legal opinion is on here, which came from DLA Piper, which is the second or third largest law firm in the world, which basically says we're doing everything well within the letter of the law. So you can feel secure there. And, there's just lots of good things in here that you would be interested in. So, we'll take that, follow-up information and get you guys logins for this. And then hopefully you'll take a chance and take a peek at it, and then let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah. Super cool. I don't mind telling you, and I'm not, in a position, nor do I take positions of promoting these sort of things for the community just to be non-conflicted, but I'm super impressed. You guys have buttoned everything up, and it's a good thing you had the money to do it. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to do it, right? So it's all stuff costs money. And so I've seen a lot of these things, and like I said, I'm not in the business of promoting, but I'm going to blame Dennis for this. Nice job, Dennis. You done a good one. You don't have to say anything. So really, really impressive.